unraveling twists in a high-profile kidnapping where speculation challenges solid evidence.
It's something where you're going to almost immediately have a call to either the family or the local authorities to say, listen, we have this person. Here is proof. Here is definitive proof that we have that person, and we are willing to negotiate. We didn't get that until a couple of days later. And that supposed submission was done through a tabloid media outlet, I believe, to get more attention. That's not the mark of someone who
TMZ. Now remember, TMZ is incorporated into a lot of cases now because we're covering people that are of higher, like Hollywood status and people that have money, the richer side of things. That's who TMZ caters to. So it's very interesting that those people went to TMZ with these ransom notes or red herrings to distract from what? And I'm glad they're kind of putting a little bit of a timeline there, but I'm going to show you how it's botched after. January 31st, 9:48 p.m., he drops her off, and 2 minutes later, the garage door closes. Well, man, Nancy was hustling fast, right? Then February 1st at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell connects and disconnects. So that's when they're saying this one came in. They're trying to say that. Potential suspect. All right, let's continue.
Is truly interested in collecting a ransom for a true kidnapping. A lot of this just has not made any sense from a kidnapping investigation. And so, like I saw that you have a Saturday night special tonight to go over 3 weeks of leads of interviews, and I think that's exactly what law enforcement is going to do is go back to the beginning, take a look at all the things that we know, not speculation, but
I mean, come on, even just the way this guy walks in, and we don't want too much speculation. We want to hear the facts. Just the stature of this first guy tells me that there's more than one person, in my opinion.
The things that we know with maybe a fresh set of eyes to say, okay, what is it that we can track down? I still believe that the clothing items that we see there are, those are tremendous leads. That holster, the combination of that holster with that pistol. That's why we had that story earlier in the week where, agents were going out and questioning people at gun stores to see. That's a very unusual combination, and I believe a tremendous lead.
Rob, it's been, and you and I are talking about this, it's been 21 days, hundreds of officers and agents.
I got to stop on that for a second because they have been focusing on the description of a single suspect. But I see two people. They have different shoes. People are agreeing. The backpack doesn't quite look the same, so I'm not really sure exactly why they say that. When you look there, it doesn't even have close to the same straps during the night or the day. 5'9" to 5'10", a $10 holster available at Walmart. Also, listen, guys, I'm hearing from behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Cool and Chris and Jinx. Thank you. That might not have been a actual gun at all. And this person used a holster and 3D printed, or either 3D printed the gun themselves, or they had it 3D printed where it's not even a real one. It's just in the shape of one with the holster to scare somebody to do what they want. Welcome, Smoking. You guys go subscribe to his channel. Thank you for gifting that membership. I appreciate you. So keep that in mind. We've got one person at this point, and a lot of stuff still just doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't a criminal case out of place in the daytime? Well, they don't want to be seen, but again, it's got to be somebody that knows that house and the area, but it's more than one person, in my opinion.
Agents are working around the clock. 40,000 tips have come in. When does the police and the FBI start to divert resources away from this case?
Well, this case is obviously atypical, and it has captured the attention not only of the United States, but the world. And so law enforcement is desperate to reassure the public. Hey, listen, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We want to make sure that people that are watching this that could see themselves in this situation are reassured. Hey, we're going to solve this case. So the pressure is there. They're not going to divert a ton of resources, but certainly they're going to shift the investigation. I doubt that there are, SWAT teams standing by at the ready like there were just a few weeks ago. There certainly is a local SWAT team there and potentially a regional SWAT team. But, we had multiple SWAT teams staged throughout the area in case there was discovery of a stash house, so to speak.
Now, guys, you got to remember too that law enforcement, it means everything. What everyone does means something. And there were several searches around Annie and Tommaso's home, as well as even people that were arrested or detained within just not even miles, just feet within that house. What does that tell you? All right. And I still do think Tommaso absolutely owed somebody money. That's a possibility too, but they didn't do this as a kidnapping.
I doubt that very seriously is the
My
case
opinion.
anymore. Certainly, they are ready to go at a moment's notice locally. But yeah, this is going to be one of those cases, and I know it's frustrating for the general public, but these things do take time. It's a very unusual, atypical case, but they're certainly not going to give up.
Rob Chadwick, thank you so much. Your wealth of knowledge when it comes to this case. I've been watching your reporting on it all week. Thank you again for coming on.
All right, there's huge discussions all over the place right now. Let me just tell you quickly about the timeline, and then I'll go to your timestamp. Because there's lots of conversations going on from lots of experts, and people are just not believing what we're hearing, and we doubt the sheriff in Pima County, and law enforcement's not talking to FBI is not telling us what they're doing, right? So let's see what the
about the
timeline.
Nancy Guthrie case, because we are now in day 24 of the search for her. And a source with knowledge of this investigation now says that images from that Nest camera that were released were actually taken on separate dates. And the Pima County Sheriff's Office responded. They did not confirm nor deny this report. This is their exact quote. They say there is no date or timestamp associated with these images. Therefore, any suggestion that the photographs were taken on different days is purely speculative. So pushing back on that reporting.
Which again, we just saw that on another channel, but does that change the entire timeline now? And why are we having purely speculation videos and news being reported on? Why are they reporting on this? I mean, I guess the same reason we're reporting on it, because we want to know what's happening, but why is it being put out there? FBI tracking everything, people. FBI never lets anything to go outside the public. All right. They're not going to tell us anything.
What does this mean, and how should we process this information about the possibility that these images that we've seen are not on one day, but two separate occasions?
Well, Carly, since day one, I've been saying that the way that they were able to recover these images is through these data points. It's not like camera rolling like we would be used to in terms of a recording. These are images that they put together based on this data that they received from the camera. And I've said since day one, there's no timestamp on these. So how are we sure that these were on that date if they're just putting together these data points? So it does appear in these videos that this person does have backpack in one photo, no backpack in another. Does that mean it was removed? Does that mean it was put on? Does that mean these are different days? The answer is we don't know. And the fact that the sheriff's office continues.
And guys, look at the stature of these people. Just by the way, this guy looks bulked up and bigger and huskier and shorter, and the way this guy walks and lanky, and we've even put their faces in comparison to each other, and they just don't look the same. The probable gun flops around dangerously. I don't know if it's a real weapon. If it were a real weapon, it's very unsecured. It would plop right out of that, because when you have a holster, it fits the gun that you're using it for. They make it particularly for that model, or it would come out and it's pointing straight at his junk. All right. So I don't even think that is a real weapon at this point. We'll find out, though. We definitely will. I've heard speculation that it's a possible 3D printed gun, and that's just from behind the scenes sources saying what they're analyzing and looking at here.
To put out these contradictory statements where we get one minute it's two things, 1 minute we don't know, 1 minute we can't speculate. All this continues to do is question the integrity of this investigation, and they continue to do it, and I'm not sure why.
And really quickly, because we are running out of time, but if this does show 2 different days, that would be casing her house at a level of premeditation. When it comes to the legal aspect of that, does that elevate the charges involved here?
What difference
I don't
is
know if
that?
it elevates the charges. It will depend on what the charges are, but there's definitely, if it
She might as well have just said, what difference does it make? She's like, I don't know about, what are we worried about elevated charges right now? Let's get Nancy Guthrie home. She's probably no longer with us, guys. I don't think this was ever about a ransom, and we're going to continue discussing that as well. And you guys already know, where I stand. I still don't like the son-in-law last to see her. Same night this all happens. Agreed. I'm still not sold on that, but I also don't want to put accusations on him because there's a reason why law enforcement has pushed us to not look at them, in my opinion. All right. Hey, Lucky, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hit that like button, guys. All right, let's continue. We got a lot today.
It is different days. You're right. It is premeditation. There is a situation where they must have been, watching her, which would make sense because they happen to know what time she got home that day. So we'll see what happens here. We're just continuing to hope she is returned one way or another.
Continuing to hope and continuing to question. Donna, thank you.
All right, so let's hop into this real quick. I want to see what relevance it has based on what we're saying. I had my show already ready to go, and as I was doing it, Miss Nancy was coming out, and I got a timestamp here of them talking about the two men at the door, possibly, or one. So let's listen up here for a bit. Still, I got so much more, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button, and be nice to each other in chat. If the trolls roll in, say